When other people that are enthusiasts of bodybuilding and fitness, when they hear Bev Francis Powerhouse Gym, what comes to mind?
I like to think they think of a good hardcore gym, serious gym, a gym to go and get a really good workout.
This gym is the Mecca. My experience in this gym is like family. Everybody here shows everybody love, support. If I need to use a machine, they go, I say, hey, how many sets you guys got left? They try to give it to me. No, I work in with you guys, stuff like that. But this is the best gym. The best, number one.
I think people feel it when they come in. Everyone can train here. But the thing is, everyone is respected for what they're doing.
There's about 50 gyms within 5 miles from here. But this gym's been standing for 30 plus years. Why? Because of Steve, because of Bev, and because of what they bring to the table. It's the only reason. There's nothing fancy here. This place is for training, strictly for training.
Whether fitness is their job or not, you could tell the people in here, this is part of their survival. People are very friendly here, but they're not here to socialize. They're here because they have a job to do. Nothing I've ever seen out of any facility in the world. I've worked out of thousands of gyms. I know for a fact what Steve Weinberger's created here with Bev Francis. I mean, it's untouchable.
When you're a competitive bodybuilder, you want to go to the best facilities there are. I used to make that trek to Long Island, even if I was staying in the city, just to train in that atmosphere. I mean, it's not called the East Coast Mecca for nothing. It's probably the best gym in the United States at this point.
Steve is one of those people that against all odds, he'll get it done. The ones that get things done have a grit that you can't measure. There's no metrics on it.
Bev Francis Powerhouse Gym has become the gym that it is because of Bev and Steve. They're on the job 24/7, and I think that it will continue to be a great gym under leadership of Bev and Steve.
He enjoys it. I mean, it's his passion. It's like a celeb gym of hardcores, and the equipment is hardcore. The people are in there are hardcore, and really, you never know who's going to be in there, whether it be a top-flight martial artist, a top-flight bodybuilder. It's got it all.
I'm proud, because it's something that we created from nothing. I grew up in Queens. My father and my mother were divorced. I lived with my mother and my sister. And after I graduated high school, I worked for the New York Post. I delivered newspapers. I drove a truck in a union job. It was a good job. It was the money that got me started in the gym business was working for the New York Post. Working in the papers, I learned a lot about life. I really do. I think I got a great education there. Because I was working there when I was a little kid. Really, as a little kid.
When did you start getting into training and lifting weights?
When I was about 14. I just wanted to have muscles. I just wanted to be big and strong. Believe it or not, my idol was Lou Ferrigno at the time. I know it's hard to believe. He might not have been the best idol to pick, but that's who I picked at the time. I guess because he was from Brooklyn, he was from New York, and he was a big guy, and I just liked it, you know what I mean? I mean, of course, Arnold and all of those guys, but my guy was Lou. Honestly, when I worked for the Post, I always thought, I work for the Post, and I'll open a little gym on the side, and, you know, it'll be enough money maybe to buy a nice car or something, and I think, you know, it'll be a nice little life. So I figured I'd work for the Post at night, and during the day, I'd open up a gym.
Are you familiar with what happened to Steve back in '82?
He was shot?
Yeah.
Do you know Steve was wearing Pumas that day, and he'll never wear Puma sneakers ever again? You'll never see Steve wearing Pumas because he was shot while he was wearing them. So I guess it's like, you know, bad luck. But yeah.
It was about 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe 12:30 at night. And one of the stops I went to, I pulled in, it was a diner. It The guy asked me for directions to the Van Wyck, and I told him where it was. And then I went to get my papers to deliver to the diner, and I turned around and there was a gun pointed at my head. So I dove into the back of the truck and I got hit twice in the hamstring and once in the calf. And I went into the diner, it was just robbed, and they were all sitting here like this. You know, there's no cell phones at that time. This was 1982. I said, I just got shot, you know. Call, you know, the police. None of them moved, so I was like, fuck. I call 911, I tell them I need an ambulance, I tell them where I'm at. I hang up the phone, then I realize when I hang up the phone, they're gonna come back and kill me. I'm by myself. So I go into the van and go to my next stop. And they know me because I do this run every night. I go in there, my legs are all full of blood. I go into there and I say, look, you know, the ambulance is coming over across the street. Can you go get the ambulance to come get me? And they went and got the ambulance. The ambulance came and got me. They took me to Jamaica Hospital. Now, this was 1982. They were gonna give me a blood transfusion. They decided not to give me a blood transfusion because my blood was okay. If they would have gave me a blood transfusion, I would have died of AIDS, because that was a junkie hospital where junkies were selling their blood. So really, I escaped death twice that day.
It's hard to say how people are gonna react, you know? I mean, he's lucky to be alive, and I'm sure that replays in his mind all the time. You know, it's tough. Unless you're in that situation, you don't know how you're gonna react. A lot of us would just crawl into a little ball. We all go through traumatic situations, some greater than others, you know, and obviously those situations could define who we are at some point. Great for him that he kinda, you know, got out of there alive and stuff, because, you know, obviously we wouldn't have all this if he wasn't here today, so.
I think, you know, I'm pretty lucky. Didn't hit a main artery, I didn't bleed to death. Then a year later I met Bev, and then that's when this whole ride started.
Next, Bev Brand.
Thank you. I want some help with my belt.
Former ballet dancer, now one of Australia's finest athletes, will attempt to lift 510 pounds. Second attempt to lift, the world's strongest woman.
Come on.
Go, Bev. Pull her up.
We met in 1983. In 83, we met in 83 during the making of Pumping Iron 2. And it was my job to be her bodyguard, which I didn't want. I looked at a picture of her and I thought, no, thank you. I'm not needing to be her bodyguard. She could take care of herself. And then I did the job, I agreed to it, and we just got along so well, it was amazing.
Everything just rolled, you know, with my life, certainly. And it was just part of it. When I came here to be with Steve, I mean, I came here to be with him. I didn't come here to create a career, to make a gym, to do it. I came because I loved him and, you know, I wanted to be with him. So it was really his dream, you know, to open a gym. And I mean, it sounded good to me. So I rolled with it. And, you know, a gym is really the only place in my early life that I felt comfortable. Just because of the way my physique was, I was so different, so much more muscular than most of the women around me, that it really was the only place that I really, that and out in the track. And we didn't have an idea, we had no idea it would last this long. But then again, we didn't think, oh, well, what are we gonna do when the gym doesn't work? We just assumed that this is what we were gonna do.
And we originally went to look at Manhattan. We looked at Manhattan everywhere. Just the rents were absurd. We just couldn't find a good spot. We wanted a ground floor spot. We didn't want to be on a second floor. We didn't want to be in a basement. We just couldn't find one. And then we came out to Long Island and we found this place. Nice little warehouse, and we thought it was not where we are right now. It's up the block about half a mile, but in the same building. It was about 5,000 square feet, and we just gave it a shot. I was like shitting in my pants. Because straight out of high school, right for the post. No, you know, I just thought, let me just roll the dice and open this. And I said to Bev, if this don't work, we're moving to Australia. And you're gonna go back to teaching school. And I'll just get a job. Because I'm not gonna walk around if this thing doesn't work. Like I had no, it was like a no failure policy. This thing had to make it.
We opened and we had like no money. You know, we just had, you know, what I came from Australia with, which wasn't much, and Steve was working. You know, he earned a decent salary, but, you know, we had to put a lot of money in it, and we just bought what we could afford. I mean, there was no one offering us any great discounts at that stage, because no one had any faith, I guess, that this gym was going to make it.
One of the biggest misconceptions about Steve is that he started with this great big gym. He started with a hole in the wall. You know, scraped a little bit of money together to put this gym together. Nobody gave him anything. He worked his ass off to get where he is. And Bev was right there at his side helping, you know, help him grow this.
I mean, it was just a complete act of faith from our part that it was going to make it. We were just confident that it was very nerve-wracking, though, when we had finally got it together and we put in whatever equipment we could afford. And then we just, like, okay, hopefully people will come through the door. You know, that was scary. It's like, okay, we're ready, let them walk in.
As the show gets bigger, it's almost like the gym and the brand gets bigger as well.
Definitely. It all works together. We opened the gym, then a year later we promoted our first show. And as the shows grew, the gym grew, and it all just entwined together. First show was the Atlantic States, but we called it the Bev Francis Classic. It's an NPC show. We had a lot to learn. I mean, we've been around shows for a long time, so we kind of knew what to do, but still, being around him and actually promoting him is two different things. The New York Pro Show is an IFBB Pro Show, which is a completely different animal. It's one of the only standalone pro shows that we have right now, really. A good team around you really helps. People that you could run stuff by, you know, like Bev's been great. I run stuff by her all the time. Jim's been great. I run stuff by him all the time. My friend Frank. I mean, I have a good team. I have some really good people, some people that have my best interest, that I can call them and I know they're just giving me the answer. Maybe what I don't want to hear, but is in my best interest to hear. Don't get too nervous, because no matter what you do, shit's gonna happen and you just have to be ready for it and deal with it. I mean, we're doing shows now for 30 years, it doesn't matter. There's still, every day, there's a new problem. So it's best to just stay calm and just handle them. When I judge, I am judging the body, not the fact that I know the guy or I dislike him or I like him. I couldn't care if I hated him or if I loved him like a brother. I'm gonna judge him the way he is. That's what I've always done, and that's what I'll always do. I mean, there are plenty of people that I dislike, I put in first place, and there are plenty of people that I really have a lot of respect for that I like that I put in 16th place. And it's a job, you know what I mean? If I don't do that job right, then I can't do it. Then I have to step away.
Right.
And if I can, I will step away.
I've seen Big Steve judging, not only in this country, but all around the world. He has the command and the personality to really make sure that everybody stays on track. The schedules stay online, the judging is done properly, that the judges do what they need to do.
He's earned that fame because he is an amazing judge. You know, he has a great eye. And he helped me in my career, both in getting me not to be such a jerk and accept people's opinions, and because I was very much, I'm going to do my own thing, and whatever people think, I don't care, which did help me get to where I was, because I had to have the attitude that I wasn't going to be influenced by what people thought, because otherwise I never would have got as muscular and as strong as I did. But at the same time, you know, in bodybuilding especially, you have to fit the mold. you know. So he sort of helped me say, okay, let's make your hair blonde. Let's make you look a little more glamorous. Let's try and, you know, fit the mold a little bit, and then you can be yourself within that framework.
I try to have an open policy because if people want me to have a look at them, I'll try to tell them, look, email me or come in and grab me for a few minutes. I try to make myself available to everybody. And as long as they're respectful about it and they're willing to, you know, either wait or make a time with me, I'll make it work.
You were the one that wanted to put everything in one spot together.
Yes, because if you're working legs, you don't want to walk through your back area or your arm area. You want to stay in the leg area, or vice versa when you're working back. You know, you just don't want to be traveling back and forth to different parts of the gym when you're working in a certain area. Honestly, we're thinking all the time. We're like, right now we're thinking, you know, we have so much equipment, where can we make more space? We're always taking it to the next level. We're never like sitting down thinking, okay, this is good, we're set.
The gym has grown just like the sport of bodybuilding has grown, just like mixed martial arts has grown. Steve just grows with it and keeps growing. And I don't think he would ever stop. I think that right now, if Steve hit Powerball for $100 million, what would happen is this gym would just maybe get a facelift, but I don't think he'd ever stop working. He's successful because he loves what he does.
The environment here is second to none. I mean, you want to train here. If you're going to get ready for a show, you're on stage. They're going to look at you at every angle. Guess what? In this gym, there's machines that are going to work every angle of your body. And when you come here, you're working out side by side with some of the best competitors in the world. This place gives you that motivation. And like I said, there's no other place on the planet like this gym.
I'm always looking and I'm always thinking. I'll walk into a gym and go, this is a good idea, or this is horrible, I'll never do this. I pick and choose. I just want it to be as perfect or as near perfect as it could be. I want it to run smooth. I want it to just, like a fine clock, I want it to tick all the time perfectly. Nothing does, but I want to get it as perfect as I possibly can.
Steve is never going to retire. In fact, if he was buried, he'd probably have you dig him up and put him in the judge's chair. No, Stevie's gonna keep this going to the very end. He enjoys it. I mean, it's his passion.
33 years is a long time. It's going to be 34 now, where I spent most of my life, I spent in this gym. I'm destined to stick around, but you know, who knows what the future will bring, you know what I mean?